G'day listeners and welcome to another episode of the Scouting Australia podcast, powered by Australian Broad Scout Buyers Agency. I'm your host, Sammy Gordon, and today, guys, we are back in the studio with Big Jimmy, the Silver Dog. Jimmy, mate, how are you?
G'day, Sammy boy. G'day, listeners. It is good to be here. If you're watching us on YouTube, you'll realise we are in the Sammy Gordon den. We're in the couch here. What room do you call this one out of the 487,000 rooms in this house?
Fritzl room 487.
We're in the, this is the relaxing lounge room.
Yeah, I think they call this lounge living two. I kind of just call it the pool room.
The pool room.
Yeah, next to the pool,
and
mate.
in true Sammy Gordon style, we are starting this podcast at 8:30 p.m.
No, 7:30. 8:30 where you're from.
8:30 where I'm
7:30 where everyone good comes from.
7:30 where Sammy's from. So, why not start the day with a podcast at 7:30 at night? Coming to you live.
You know what's funny though? The last time that we did this, man, the last time we did the potty in here, it was the night that we moved in. Well, sorry, the night that I moved in. Bear and I, Bear's down here. She's getting some belly rubs.
She does.
But Bear and I, the night that we moved in, that you, Brendo, Kells, myself, we were all here the night that we moved in. We brought the cards over.
Sammy, you recall, that day we were supposed to record in the afternoon and ended up recording at the same time we are today.
I believe so.
It
might have even been later.
Things haven't changed.
I think it was even later. I think it was at 9:30 by the time we started. Didn't we smack some grilled first?
That would not surprise me.
It would not surprise us. But mate, the reason we wanted to do today is obviously we're a little bit relaxed, mate. We're heading into the end of the year. This, I believe, is going to be the final podcast for the year as well. And man, I thought it was very fitting and prudent podcast episode to really run through today, man, being all around strategizing your game plan in 2026. Not just goal setting, but actually strategizing what you want to do.
Actually, a little curveball for you. I know we're going to be talking about strategizing for next year, but do you, Sammy boy, for people out there, it's coming to the end of the year, what kind of reflection do you do about the year that's gone?
Mate, so reflecting on the year that was, I think it's an interesting one because and we're going to do a top 1% potty on sort of the year that I sort of, have sort of gone through as well, different lessons that both of us sort of pulled out of this year as it was. But man, in terms of reflecting on like goals that I'd set and the strategic piece behind each goal that I sort of set out to achieve. Man. So I typically review my goals monthly. Sometimes I'll review them weekly as well. And just sort of like, I like to keep what my game plan is front of mind. So I'll constantly review it from that perspective. And yeah, man, I'm always setting big goals, man, and then strategizing hard behind them. And I set big goals that are like well in front of what I'm trying to or what my initial thoughts of, I would love to achieve this, mad. I'll throw a different amount out there that might be, 3, 5, 10x, whatever that is, and then set the game plan, strategize towards that. Worst case, man, I hit that level, but then best case, what if I can 2, 3, 5, 10x it? What if I can actually achieve it? When you actually strategize it, man, like that's what I really, really love to do. So it's been an interesting year, mate. I think I've acquired about 45 odd residential properties this year. I've sold to date about 22, 23, I think it is. So I went through a big sell down, man. I never had the primary residence in my goal setting for this year, which obviously came in, about a 20-hour turnaround in terms of when we viewed a property to when the house we're sitting in right now in terms of buying it. So it's been an interesting year, man, of different things I did set out there to achieve and what actually kind of, came to be for the year as well. How about yourself?
Mate, I couldn't agree with you more. In terms of reflecting on the year, actually, before I turn about myself, the thing I love about you and what I've noticed with you is you will set a particular goal, but then not only do you tweak it, but you're constantly iterating that goal to think about, and you did touch on it, to 10x it and 20x it, but so many different things come into your mind throughout the year. So it's almost like your goals are your base plan, almost like the non-negotiables, but then because you've strategized exactly how you're going to achieve them, it gives you space to actually think about what else is possible. Right? It sort of almost gives you a real concrete game plan. And I think if I reflect back on myself over the years previously, writing goals and anyone can write a goal, right? Everyone always has the best intentions with the goal. And the goals, goals are cheap because you can just write them down. But what makes the goals a reality is a strategy. And I think that's what today is all about, is for people to change their thinking around just being goal orientated and really what is the fat around it? What is the juice behind the goal? Because the goals are irrelevant if you don't actually have the specific nuts and bolts, the fat around it to actually execute it. And even if I think about it, I'm starting to get angry at myself because I just think about all the years I wasted thinking, because a goal's like a dopamine hit. A goal is like something you feel good. It's like buying a book. You feel good because you bought the book, But if you haven't read it, it's irrelevant, right? That's exactly what I found
different
goals.
to reading the book and then not implementing, which so many people do as well.
Right?
It's like all well and good. You can buy the book, you can read the book, you can talk about the book. Did you implement the book and what you learned from it?
Yeah.
If you don't, man, there's no actual point in reading the book. There's knowledge is power, but it's without execution, it's nothing.
Yep.
It's nothing.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's where, man, you see so many people, whether they're going to uni or they're learning this or that or whatever it is. It's like, it's all well and good. Then they come out of uni, they don't even practice what they learned there.
Yeah.
You know, and you see this across so many different things, man, of people, whether be it study or different things they go through or degrees or whatever it is that they get or trades or whatever it is. Man, I think it's like one of these things, like it's got to fit into the greater plan, you know, and man, I agree with you with that piece of, understanding that, learning that knowledge, and then the same thing of like of the goals that you set out there to do, you have to then get after them. It's like you're saying, man, like, oh yeah, well and good, write down four goals, 4 properties, whatever it is. 4 properties that potentially is your goal, but it's like, okay, what's the game plan behind getting there? And man, like I know a lot of people have sort of heard about the mentoring. We're going to release a podcast on the mentoring next year, but obviously we released the mentoring at the boot camp this year. And man, the whole purpose behind that was to actually goal set and then strategize with those clients and then hold them accountable to hitting it. And that's a whole piece that mentoring really is and will help fulfill so many clients' journeys, man, and really portfolio expansion as well. So I think it's one of those things, man, like goals are all well and good, but that's why the title of this ep isn't around goal setting, man. It's around strategizing, you know, because that is how you succeed, especially in 2026 and beyond.
I love that. I think it should be like creating a movement around, like, goals are important because it gives you sort of the North Star, but that is just like such a tip of the iceberg. As we said, it's so easy to just actually say, this is what I want to do. But you got to be motivated to do the goal. And a lot of people, life gets in the way. Yeah. Shit gets busy. People 100%. Got all sorts of pressures. You got kids, you got work and all that. So getting motivated to try and chase the goal is a pain in the ass. Whereas if you know exactly the roadmap to do it, that's strategy, that's the discipline, that's the day-to-day. And that's why I think for everyone listening out there, change the whole mindset around what you're trying to do. Next year is, well, what time? We're releasing this in 2025, right?
Yeah, I think this is going out just before Christmas, just before New Year.
So let's focus on strategy. But what I wrote a note down here that it is all about execution, right? People lack confidence to execute because they don't have a strategy.
Just before you go into that, before we dive into that, something you said before, and this almost is what you were talking about then, but it's like, man, I think the biggest thing, you mentioned motivation there, right? And so many people, like, man, we all go in and out of having motivation, right? And that's where, like, man, it all comes down to the consistency, you know, and one of the things that we covered off in the boot camp, man, was the power of relentless action. Yeah. And that was one of the hottest topics.
Best.
Mate, that was where I got super fired up because, mate, it doesn't matter where you come from or what you're doing or what your goals are, whatever it is, the power of the relentless action of chasing that stuff and being super consistent with everything that you say you're going to do, man, that is what breeds results. You can have the most strategic game plan in the world. You can fucking have all the most beautiful goals and map them all out and all the rest of the sort of thing, man. That in combination with the actual consistent action, man. And again, I revert back to the mentoring piece, man. The biggest thing that we realize that would help people get there, man, is having the accountability partner to hold you consistent to what you promised to do. And man, that's why I love that program, because people are literally, man, putting their money where their mouths are and committing to a result by the end just of 2026, let alone obviously getting everyone on the stage, the 500 plus investors on the stage in 2030. But this is what's going to hold the people accountable until the end of 2026 to hit their goals, man. So, you know, I think it's one of those things, mate. It's the more that I look into it, the more I think about it, and just the more that it makes sense again and again. And I know there's a lot of people that missed out on the opportunity for mentoring for you know, this first batch of mentoring that came off the back of the boot camp, which obviously they'll get the opportunity to do at some point early in 2026. But man, this is the whole premise behind it. Everyone at the boot camp would know how passionate I was when I got up there and broke down everything to do with it. And made it literally all boils down, it all drills back to that consistency piece, to creating the correct game plan, to executing on the game plan and the deals in a specified time frame to actually be able to achieve it, and then the consistency behind what they're actually chasing, man. That is literally the game changer that will ensure as close as possible to people actually achieving their goals every single year. Because not everyone's as driven and as motivated and as, like, you know, committed to hitting those goals every single time as potentially I am or you are these days compared to where you were back in the past. But that's where, man, having that accountability partner, and whether you're in mentoring or not, or you need to hold your partner needs to hold you as accountable, or you're single and you need to hold yourself accountable the way I used to have to back in the day as well. I mean, these are the things in combination with everything that will provide that compounding effect and that continual motion that enables you to win. As soon as you take a year off or 6 months off, or you forget to reval that property, it's this thing, man, like you don't even need, the motivation piece doesn't need to be there all the time. But it's like, okay, sweet, well, I buy that property. Well, at 91 days, I set the valuation, I set the reminder. And as soon as that reminder comes up, non-negotiable, has to be done. And these are the sorts of things that are held accountable through that program too, man. So it's super exciting times for us, man. Obviously, we're recording this. And the reason why we're releasing this now, guys, obviously this is coming out just before Christmas or just before New Year's, whenever it's going to be. The idea of it is to allow you to carry this sort of mindset into early 2026, into January, or do your planning before January, get everything mapped out, get everything started. What are you going to do? What are you going to do to hold yourself accountable to this sort of stuff? Or do you need that accountability partner to ensure you hit your goals by the end of 2026? Because there's so many people listening to this. You and I both had our years as well, man, where we wrote down our goals at the start of the year. We get to fucking December or November and we're like, we get back to goal setting for the next year. We haven't hit any of our goals. Well, what are you going to do differently this year to achieve it?
I love that, Sammy. There's a great quote that successful people hate doing the same things as unsuccessful people, but they do them anyway.
I feel like the amount of times that you have quoted that, I feel like it could be a James Ibrahim quote.
Well, you know what? I might claim it. And the lightning strikes as I say it.
The lightning, yes, it has struck many times, and I do agree. It did struck you in the back of the head.
People hate, everyone hates doing stuff. It's not, you're not superhuman because you want to do it. Like some mornings,
that be one of your quotes as well. Everybody hates doing stuff. Hey, yo, Adrian.
Some mornings going to the gym, you can't be stuffed, but you do it anyway. Yeah. Some mornings you can't be bothered going to do work, but you don't get the veins
from taking days off, mate.
No days off.
No gains, no veins.
You just need a real hot room and your veins come out. That's why we're sitting in the Bikram yoga room, so you can get some veins in your forearms.
I love it.
But Sammy,
sorry, I cut you off.
Mentoring clients aside, right? Because
of course. Yeah, man. There's people listening to this who aren't even with APS.
We know
whatever.
Mentoring clients are fully accountable.
They're committed, bro.
Because they committed, right? They put their money where their mouth is, right? So they are going to be accountable. For the people out there that are listening to this, and there's so many
if they're not
people
accountable, they're going to be held accountable.
Starting out, they're not ready.
Yes.
We need them to take what simple things can they do to start moving forward, right? Not just setting their goals.
Yeah, man. Well, look, I think the first things first, man. I have no issues with goal setting. Goal setting is great. I love goal setting, but then it's the plan behind it. Okay. Yeah. And so first things first, someone's coming into the new year. Beautiful. Let's set some goals that are like, I would say realistic, but slightly above what you potentially want to do, right? Let's say you're aiming for, I'd love to hit 2 properties in a year. Okay, sweet. Do you have the capacity to hit 4 properties in a year? Now, this is where, if people are looking to really change the game and do something big in their portfolio, it's setting goals like that.
Like stretch goals.
Yeah, man, of course. But then it's setting the game plan in motion to achieve that. Okay, so instead of setting the game plan to hit 2 a year, I'm going to set the game plan to hit 4 a year, right? Because then even if you fall 50% short of your 4, you're still going to hit your 2. But if you can go close to hitting that, maybe you get to 3, maybe you get to the 4, right? But man, like that stretch goal and pushing yourself that little bit further. So this is the first thing, man. Like I don't just set ordinary goals ever. I haven't for a decade, right? And that's how I've kept growing every single year, bigger and bigger with my portfolio and with everything that I've ever done, especially in the last 10 years, because I didn't take mediocre as okay. Right. So I kept setting these big goals, chasing these big goals. And man, the thing that I love, and I think it's such a almost safe space, even though we're talking about this in a podcast, but I feel like it's such a safe space to talk about this with Scouting Australia podcast listeners and APS clients and all the rest of this sort of thing, man, is because they're not looking to achieve or be okay with the status quo. They're looking to achieve big things and move quickly. And so like, I feel like me saying that, man, is very acceptable. And people are like, yeah, that makes sense. Instead of setting this, we're going to go that bit further. If I can do 4 a year, I'm going to set 8. Or if I'm hoping to buy my first property and get to 2, well, let's set to 3. Like, what are the game plans? What are the action steps that I need to do to achieve these things? And so, man, then it's just reverse engineering it. So, okay, sweet. Well, these are the goals that I want to hit. Cool. Let's work this thing forward as to what I need to do now and then what I need to do. Are there action steps I need to take in February or March or April? You know what I mean? Like, start mapping these things out of the action steps you need to take. Now you might go, okay, Sammy, but like, well, what do I do in Feb? What do I do in March? Okay, sweet. Well, when was the last time you valued property number 1? It was in November. Okay, beautiful. Well, if it's a 91-day If it's a 91-day valuation policy with your bank or a 90-day policy, no worries. So the day out, like 91 days post that last val in November is somewhere in February. Sweet. Set the valuation for then. Set reminder a week before and a day before to make sure you're getting those reminders so you're constantly moving the needles forward. And when you're doing that, man, that is going to enable you to keep pushing forward and keep moving forward as long as you take those action steps, right? And then, man, again, okay, you were talking about March and April. Whatever. Okay, sweet. Property number 2, when was that last valued? Or it was December or it was January, whatever it is, or it was September, whatever. Bang, what are we doing? What are we putting into motion? And we're setting these things into the calendar, man, to remind ourselves. And whether it's a big bloody 12-month calendar in front of us, or whether it's on the iPhone, whatever, if it's a big 12-month calendar, you need to be checking that thing as a minimum weekly when you're assessing your portfolio. But man, in the phone as well, just these little things to make sure you are moving forward, man, continually compounding it and moving it forward. But set the goals, set the game plan that you need to do, in motion as to what you're going to do. And then, man, and that includes all the reminders and everything. And then, man, just make sure you're going to action it. Hold yourself accountable to that.
You said 10 years, like for the last 10 years is where your trajectory has really gone crazy, right? 100%. For the first 5 years, that's where probably the majority of the listeners of this may potentially be, right?
Yep.
So I'm just trying to reach out to those people who are...
This is the thing that people need to realize. Everyone needs to learn from my first 6 years. I've been 16 years in the game. Everyone needs to learn from my first 6 years.
That's right.
Where my first 6 years, it took me to then, and bro, it's fucking more than that. It's 9 years because I started saving for my first deposit at 16, 17.
Yeah.
Well, my first property at 19, second property at 22, and I didn't buy again until I was 24, 25.
Wow. People forget that. I mean, that's crazy.
That's what I'm saying, man. That's what people need to realize. Like they could fast track what took me 6, 7, 8 years to do by the time I started buying 2, 3, 4 a year, whatever it was, mate. But they could fast track that to literally 12, 24 months. What took me that sort of time frame to do. And that's why I'm saying, man, like that last decade, even though it seems crazy what I sort of have achieved in the last decade, people got to realize they can massively fast track that, bring that forward and see in years, when I was 24, 25, whatever it was, man, I was 6 years into my investing. I started buying 2 a year and then 2 a year and then 4 a year and then 6 a year. You know what I mean? Yeah, I set the foundations when I bought that first property when I was 19 and the next one at 22, and I made money on those deals and they were in the Sydney cycle, so they performed well. But man, like the amount of downtime I had and what that didn't produce for me, what those properties didn't produce for me, the goals I set that didn't hold myself accountable to it, people can bring that forward massively and start doing 2 deals a year. Almost everyone can do 2 deals a year, man. I didn't understand how to do it. They've got the knowledge now. They've got the teams behind them now that can help them execute with it. So instead of doing a deal a year or a deal every 3 years, bro, fast. Can you imagine if I was moving at the pace that I was moving even at 25, 26, or I was doing 2 deals a year? The amount I would have bought 10 properties in Sydney by the time I started buying, 2 a year in Adelaide and Brisbane and stuff.
Yeah.
How much money on the table? How much money did I leave on the table? And that's what people like, you go to say, oh, well, the last 10 years have been crazy. What people in the first 5 years, 6 years, fuck mate, that's the time that they could massively overtake what I did in that time frame. So it's where everyone says, oh, it was easy for you. So fuck off, it was easy, mate. It was hard. And I didn't know what I was doing. Whereas they have the team behind them now, the knowledge to push them further forward than I ever did, that I had to learn. This is where everyone gets to learn from, man, and implement the mistake, avoid the mistakes that I made and implement the correct strategy to build forward so much faster.
Yeah. I love that, Sammy. I mean, there's so much gold in that little bit there. And people learning from other people's mistakes is your fastest way to succeed. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. Right? Someone's already done it.
Yeah.
Figure out what they've done wrong, what they've done right, and copy them.
For sure.
And that's the great thing I love about APS. And I say this all the time. Everyone knows up until the age of 40, I had one deal, one property, because I didn't have the strategy, Sammy.
Yeah.
I didn't execute. Whereas now, luckily, following the plan from yourself, I'm in the mid-20s, not because I set bigger goals, is because I focused on executing and the strategy around it and following a strategy that worked. And I think for anyone listening out there, buying the property is the end piece. Everyone's focusing on buying the property, but they're not focusing on the little bits like what you're talking about, getting the pre-approval, getting the val done, getting your paperwork together, getting the documents signed, allocating time to do your cash flow spreadsheets or submit your stuff to the accountant. Executing the little steps is what will get you the property. It's not the property, it's the little pieces. It's like anything in life. The little pieces add up to the big goal. It's not the big goal. You focus on the 1% pieces. And that was my big focus for this year was, you know what? I'm just going to be very good at executing the shit things that I hate doing. Because then the property's going to take care of itself.
Mate, literally what I was going to say as you're running through all of that was the 1%ers, man. And that to me is what it all boils down to, man. If you hold yourself accountable to the 1%ers, you will win.
Yeah.
It is as simple as that. You will win because it will compound into so much more. And this is where, man, so many people get this piece wrong because they just think about the big. Well, no, it's the little. Those micro actions, man, that get the result. Everyone gets so hung up on, oh, this takes so long, that takes so long, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but what about the compounding effect when you get into year 2 and you've bought 2-3 properties, and then you get to the end of year 2 and you're at 4 or 5 deals and you're sitting at that, man, and then you've got a $2.5-3 million property portfolio. Man, that goes up by 10-20%. You just made $500,000-$600,000 in a year. You know what I mean? But the micro actions of what you're talking about there, the 1%ers and those micro actions, man, are what enable that. What enables that to happen, right? So I think, man, it's a fantastic point to make. And this is why, man, I go and I talk about like what we were talking about before. It really comes down to set your goals and go bigger than you're thinking. Set your goals. Create the strategy around doing it, and then commit to the micro actions and micro game plan to get yourself there. Those 1%ers consistently. Man, one of the best pieces of feedback I had post-summer, post-bootcamp that I took on board as like a really good lesson that people picked up, man, was setting the accountability piece on your own portfolio. Because your own portfolio will outpace what you can ever earn.
100%.
When you scale your portfolio, it will outpace what you can ever earn.
100%.
And people realizing that piece of putting 1 to 2 hours a week into their portfolio, man, that was the biggest thing. I've set my Sunday Arvo. When I set my week out ahead of me, I also review my portfolio and I do this or I do that. Or on Monday at 5 p.m. when I finish work, or at hump day, I literally had all these different scenarios that people said to me suited them the best to make the game plan around it. This is where they fit it in so they could work on their portfolio for 1 to 2 hours a week. And it was funny, man, because I was on the radio this morning down in Adelaide, and they were talking to me about, what do you do with this portfolio? Yeah, well, how this thing must take you forever. And all right, these days I'm thankful I've got a great EA that handles most of my stuff in my portfolio. I've got a 100 plus property portfolio, right? When you're 10, 20, 30 properties, man, I manage my own portfolio and run a 20 plus person company at the time when I was managing up to about 54 properties, right? And I hit 54 properties and I stalled my portfolio. I stopped it there because I was like, this is too hectic. There was too much going on. So I brought an EA in on that end to manage the portfolio. But mate, 2, 5, 10 properties, man, if you manage that closely and properly, and especially if we cluster certain properties and certain assets in certain areas, so easy to manage, man. Hour, 2 hours max. I was managing, man, 10, 20 property portfolios with an hour a week.
Yep.
An hour a week, man. Right? And so it's like, man, some micro actions to get there. But I tell you, mate, when I had a 10, 20 property portfolio, I was making $2 million a year out of my portfolio, out of the growth.
That is crazy.
Crazy, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, they'll whinge about the 1 or 2 hours because it feels like work because it's different to the monotonous work they normally do. But man, who's making $1 million, $2 million a year out there, or even $500,000 a year? That's what a good property portfolio just performing will continue to produce.
So if anything, that 1 or 2 hours should be the priority of your week. Like 100%. Don't map your week with your work week and then plan that afterwards. And the best results I've ever found was focusing on my own life.
Yeah.
In the first hour of the day. Like the first hour of the day, you get into the office, you're sitting there, there's so much shit going in, people are throwing stuff at you, but you almost got to shut it off and go, you know what is going to move the needle for me? And you just said, who's going to make $2 million out of a portfolio? Of course you're going to focus on that.
You know what's funny as well, man? It's so funny that you bring that up because that's what I used to do. For me, it was first thing in the morning. And it was depending on which stage I was at in my portfolio, because sometimes I do like an hour on a Tuesday morning or 2 hours or whatever, or maybe like an hour or two on a Friday morning. So I'd do like a start of the week and an end of the week sort of one as my portfolio got bigger. But yeah, man, that was the thing. It was managed during the morning hours like that. That was how I carried it. That was how I managed it. And then yeah, man, like it's you've got to put yourself first in these scenarios.
Because it's worth it.
For sure, man. That's what I'm saying, bro. You never will be able to, it's like, I use that analogy, the soccer analogy, right? And I remember I'm sure it was my dad taught me when I was younger. He's like, you'll never out sprint a ball. Like you'll never out sprint a pass. You can't run faster than it, right? And it's like trying to out earn a portfolio. You will never out earn a high performing portfolio that's set up correctly, bought in the right area, leveraged correctly, strategized correctly, traded properly. You'll never outperform it, man. Never. There's no business that can if you know how to do it. There's no income that can. There's no PAYG that can. when you properly understand how to do it. So that's why I think, man, all these things overlaid on top of each other, the goals, the strategy, the 1%ers, and the consistency, man. You get all that right, you win.
Inevitable.
It's as simple as that. It is. It's inevitable. You will win. I guarantee you. You will fucking win.
And then it's like a feedback loop, right? Because the more results you get, the more confidence you get, the more bandwidth you got, the more snowball it happens, the more capacity you can take on.
Well, bro, it doesn't affect you because it becomes like the job that you're doing before of like the monotony of the other job. It almost becomes like that, except it's more exciting. But I mean, like it doesn't phase you. So you start moving through it and your mind, you talk about the rubber band and your mind gets stretched. It just becomes easy. It doesn't become a stressful thing. So it becomes so much easier in terms of what you're doing too, man. So mate, I love it. And the further I got into it, it's like, man, when you're early, it's normal to be fazed by things. Again, I said this at the boot camp. Just prime yourself. Things are going to come. They're going to shock you. They're going to rock you. They're going to make you, oh no, I didn't think it'd be this result, that result, whatever. These things are going to happen. I don't know why. I can't believe a tenant did that. Mate, just expect a tenant to trash your house at some point and you'll never be surprised, right? Or expect a water main to blow on Australia Day, like happened to me once. Had no problems with all my properties all year. And had a water main blow on on Australia Day, you know what I mean? Like I was like, but it's just like, there was a property that never gave me issues and it had one thing pop up. I was like, fuck, it is what it is. End up tripling in value. Tripling in value, man. Do I remember that? You don't remember these. I remember it because it was on a public holiday, and I remember the call out and then bloody hell. But like, mate, in reality, what do I remember out of it? Do I remember the tripling in value, or just we laugh about the water main that blew once? It's one of these things, man. It's like it's all bigger picture, and figuring this stuff out, factoring it in, man. And again, man, I go back to it. Goal set properly. Goal set to a good level, man. Strategize properly, do the 1%ers, and do it all consistently. The most money I ever lost, the most money I've ever lost in my life was time out of the game. It was velocity of money, of not having my money working for me. It was those first 6 years. But imagine if I could rewind to those deals I did in Sydney in 2009, 2012, 2011. Mate, triple, quadruple in value. But imagine what that would have set me up for as a springboard into Brisbane, Perth, Adelaide before their next cycles. Imagine getting that right in that first 6 years. You know what I mean? So I've been 16 years in the game, but I've really only been investing properly for 10. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing before it. That was my school of hard knocks I get to pass on to you guys and everyone, right? That's my lost time. That's my lost earnings in that time frame. So it's funny, man. So have you ever lost money on a deal? Well, not really. I actually have never lost money on a deal personally, but like if I look at it, that time frame wise, man, like that's where I lost the most money I've ever lost in my life was in that period there.
Really interesting. Really, I love that. I love that, Sammy.
And people have got to realize that applies to their own portfolio.
Yeah.
And again, man, this is why we brought mentoring in. We brought mentoring in. So for one, we could guarantee timeframes on deals for clients. So we shorten that time frame as much as possible. And then we also hold them accountable to their strategy and their goals that they set. And then we fulfill the strategy as well, man.
It's almost like, in a good way, pushing them to actually achieve the goals that they really want, but they just don't have the edge to get there.
Or they don't even know how to get there. Or they don't know how to hold themselves accountable to get there. That's the whole piece behind it, man. And I said this on stage, brother. Like, it's like, obviously nothing in life is a guarantee. But that program and that accountability and setting the goals, and that's why, man, we did the first one, the inaugural one. After the boot camp, sign people up, strategize them before Christmas. Strategize for them in December so they could set their game plans and their strategies for 2026 in December and put everything in motion for it, right? And man, people in the room at the boot camp are the ones that got first access to that. So they got access to that planning to go into 2026. Now, are they going to win in 2026? Fucking oath they are. Are there going to be a huge amount of clients that have massive wins off the back of mentoring from starting in that time frame? 100%. Doesn't mean people aren't still going to win, obviously starting it further in, or even if you're not within mentoring. But that is the whole purpose of mentoring, man. So many people that listen to our podcast obviously is all about, and they know our mission is all about retiring 500 Australians by 2030, 500 plus Australians by 2030. We know this is how we get people there. And bro, you committed or you're not?
You know, when I'm just thinking about the boot camp, right? And it just summarizes what, like those people who have got that opportunity, and there's going to be plenty of opportunities ahead, right? But let's just look at that opportunity.
Yeah.
Those people showed up, committed to going to the summit and boot camp, had the discipline and the commitment to put their money where their mouth is. They wanted a better future and they turned up. They then got the opportunity to open their eyes to mentoring. Many of those clients are now going to escalate and elevate their portfolio next year. But if you strip it back a few steps, they had the choice like everyone else to turn up.
For sure.
So it's funny how when you turn up, shit opens up and things come your way. Those people, it wasn't by chance. They were there. They were in the room,
Mate,
to get the opportunity.
There's a reason why I didn't make it public knowledge that the mentoring, like the applications of what needed to be done, you had to be in the room for the mentoring on the Sunday for in the room for the boot camp for it. Because then you see who's really committed. Because they were there. And 70% of the room was from Queensland and the other 30% of the room was from the rest of was from interstate. You know what I mean? But like our majority of our client base is actually interstate. So 30% that traveled and made the commitment and came from interstate made a lot of those guys sign up for mentoring. And it doesn't surprise us at all because they made the commitment, man, of the weekend, of the time, of the dollars, you know, all these sorts of things to get there, right? And man, I think it's the just rewards, you know what I mean, for that piece of and getting that offer and getting that opportunity too. So man, I think it's really cool, bro. Like I love it, man. I'm super excited for mentoring. It's gonna be awesome to see some portfolios on the stage at the end of next year, at the end of 2026. I am super excited I know there's a lot of clients who are a little bit upset that they miss out on the opportunity, you know, on first dibs on it as well. Exactly to the point that we made just then, man. Had to be in the room to get access to the first dibs of it. But yeah, man, moving into next year, there's obviously going to be there's going to be opportunities next year as well for people to get access to it. Yeah. Obviously not as many now because a certain amount of places have been taken. But yeah, man, there's going to be opportunities around it, which we'll obviously drop a podcast on now, later
if someone's listening,
early next year.
If someone's listening out there, they didn't make it to mentoring. What we want to be conscious of is them not using that as an excuse. Oh, I wasn't able to do this because of this and this and that.
Yeah.
What message would you say to those people who still want to push the envelope, who still want to strategize and get shit done and make it happen?
Man, the simple fact is like we're still going to help. We're still going to help everyone at APS that's been at APS for a long time. It's not like we're now excluding everyone who isn't in mentoring. Mentoring is just a commitment of people making to themselves more than anything to achieve their goals. It's not even to us. If you don't want to be mentoring, that's fine, right? Mentoring is where we hold ourselves super accountable to someone's results, right? That's us holding ourselves accountable to someone's results. And again, like I said, it's the closest we can go to guaranteeing and getting people to their goals by the end of the year and getting them on the stage by 2030. Now, that being said, man, it doesn't mean that we're not still going to help plenty of clients who decided not to take on mentoring or who weren't at the summit or who, you know, potentially financially it isn't the right time for them to do it right now. Man, for those guys, we're obviously still going to help them from that perspective. But man, I think it really flows on to the point I made earlier of, and this is whether you are a mentoring client or not, an APS client or not, whatever it is, it's like the way to win is to strategize and execute. Go back to it, man. Set big goals, strategize how you're going to get out there, how you're going to get there, and then commit to the 1%ers and stay consistent with it. It's as simple as that, man. You do that, whether you're mentoring or not, you're going to win. Mentoring is just the turbocharger on the beast that this thing is. Mm-hmm. But man, like even for those, especially those who financially don't think it's the right fit for them at the moment, it's sweet. Yeah, man, these are the things you need to hold yourself accountable to still get the result.
Yeah, I love that. I love it. And so I think we've touched on pretty much everything. I don't know if there's anything else you want to say, Sammy.
Pretty good. Yeah,
the only thing I would want to say to people is don't forget of the compounding nature of being disciplined in this approach, because how you do anything is how you do everything. If you apply the same level of strategy and execution with your portfolio or your finance, it is only natural. You will naturally see an uplift in your health or in your performance at work, or if it's your own business, or if it's in your relationships, because how you do anything is how you do everything. It's very difficult to really kick ass here, but then be really shit in everything else, right? You're going to show up. You're going to have that winning mentality. So when you think about your life is going to naturally improve. Everything, every aspect of your life naturally will improve if you focus on doing the little things better. Yeah. The little things that make the difference.
The 1%ers, brother.
The 1%ers.
We literally go back to it. And it's so true, man. It's a funny thing, you know, and I was actually on a podcast just recently, earlier this month with someone else. And man, we went into this, and funnily enough, that saying actually came up because, you know, I think the poddy host, man, he asked me, like, how do you maintain the passion and the consistency and like still wanting to do this thing And I'm like, man, like if I'm going to do something, I'm going to go all in. If I'm not willing to go all in, it's not the right thing for me, right? And my heart's not in it. If my heart's not in it, I'm not even going to do it. But if I'm going to do it, I'm going to go all in, man. And the simple fact is because when I was young, and I remember this so clearly, man, I would have been 5 or 7 or something like that. And man, I always had the job on Sunday to sweep the sheds. And my dad always told me like a story of like how, you know, a great boss or a great leader or whatever, like he'll get out there and he'll pick up the broom and he'll sweep the sheds himself. Funny he says that when he gets his 6-year-old son, 7-year-old son to clean the shed. Funny he said it.
What a genius.
But mate, it's very, very, very good because he taught a good lesson. I don't even clicked in my head just then. Smart bastard. But taught me a great lesson in the same instance. And it was literally those words, man. How you do anything is how you do everything. And he's like, if you sweep the floor like shit, and it looks, again, he's just drilling into me to get a great job here, get a great result. But in all reality, man, you do a shit job of that, you're gonna do a shit job at everything else in your life. But you're a perfectionist at that. And it's funny because I reflect on the fact of like I'm OCD with stuff, man. I don't like things not lined up properly. I don't like doing a shit job. I don't like people thinking that I'll ever do a shit job. Like that to me carries more weight than anyone ever bagging me out online or trying to have a crack, whatever it is, because I know the level and the standard that I hold myself to. And if we ever make a mistake, I always own up to it if we genuinely have made a mistake. And it's just quite simply, man, because we hold ourselves to that level that is so high that, man, it's just like it's unfathomable to me to perform anything less than that. And that's why I actually don't understand why other buyer's agents don't just hold themselves to the standard of doing a great job. I don't get it. Because like, man, you do a great job. Other people talk about it. They refer to all the rest of the sort of thing. It's just like, but if they don't live by that example, if they don't live by that premise, it's like, mate, we go to the gym. We never go and do a light session. We always go and can smash ourselves at gym. We go for a run. I'm not going for a 2K walk or a 3K jog. Man, I'm going to run 7, 8, 10Ks, whatever it is, exhaust myself, cook myself, go for a good run, get a good flush, all the rest of the thing, man. Mate, that's what I'm doing it for. You know what I mean? I'm not doing these things to do it half-assed. Doing it to do it properly. And man, I think this is the thing is when you look at this on all levels and we drill back to the reason why 92% of property investors fail. They get stuck at one or two or less properties, right? 92% of investors. It's because they don't just stick to this thing and commit to this thing and do the 1%ers consistently. That is how you get the result. So mate, everyone going into 2026, whether you're in mentoring, whether you're with APS, whether you're with, doing things yourself, whatever it is, plan big goals, strategize them properly, commit to the 1%ers and stay consistent. You can't fail.
And execute.
You can't fail.
Yeah. Get it done.
And execute, man.
Get it done.
You combine all that sort of stuff, mate, you can't fail. Worst case, you set the bar, you've only got the ability to do 1, whatever. Worst case, you're aiming for 3, you land on 2. 2 properties in a year. Fucking hell, it took me 6 years. You know, I mean, like in that time frame before I bought anything else from that point. Like that's still an epic year if that's your first year in property. I've got the ability to do 2. Okay, could you stretch it? What's your stretch thinking to get yourselves to 4? How many people post-summit were like, I'm selling the house, I'm going all in? You know what I mean? Post-summit in the boot camp. Because they can see what's going to come of it when they go all in and they stay consistent to it. So man, I think it's just one of these things, mate. Like I am so pumped to record this again in 12 months and see how people went off the back of mentoring. Because we saw all the people that got up on stage with me over the summit and the boot camp, man. They started with 1 property, 2 properties. They ended up on 7, 8, 9 properties in that time frame. There's others that were a bit quieter and they didn't want to get on stage and stuff, man. They did 15, 20 properties in that window, starting from 3, 4, 5, whatever it was. Man, these are the things. And like, obviously they had me holding them accountable, so they weren't going to rock up to a meeting not having done what I'd already told them to do and move that needle and build that momentum. But man, this is the thing. Like, they're people that committed to their goals in 2025 and they can smash them. Imagine where they're going to be sitting in 12 months. They did 6, 8 properties in 12 months. I went from 1, 2 properties to 6, 8, 10 property portfolios. Where are they going to be in another 12 months? And then 12 months beyond that, and then that, and then that. Because the snowball effect, man, doesn't slow down. It just picks up, it takes off, it carries on. And the beautiful thing, man, and the one thing I would challenge, I'm going to end with this thing. One thing I would challenge everyone to that's listening to this podcast, hold yourself accountable for 1 year. And if you need to dial that all the way back to monthly, to then weekly, whatever it is, if it's a weekly 1-hour session where you're working on your own portfolio, if that's all you do, commit to it for 1 year. And I promise you'll never change that habit because the habit will be formed and the results will be gained, and you'll never want to achieve anything less than what you do in the next 12 months. So those 5 things we said before, set big goals, plan it out, commit to the 1%ers, stay consistent, and execute. Do those 5 things, hold yourself accountable to it for the next 12 months. I guarantee you'll change your life.
Beautiful, Sammy boy. What
Mate,
a way to finish
I'm
the
good.
year on that one. I think that's pretty good.
Oh, yeah, it's the last ep of the year.
I think
Last
the producer
round
was
out of
happy
the year.
with that. She's just dying to go home now.
Yeah, she gives a thumbs up. She's like, my fucking grill's
She
there.
was
It's been there for half
she
an
fell
hour.
asleep because it's midnight by the time we finish this thing. Bear's gone to bed. Bear's run over.
Yeah, I don't know where
Where's Bear
she
gone?
went. She went run. I think she went for the grills. I think she went for the
Bear's
grill.
like, shit, I've heard enough of this.
Fucking hell. Jimmy, mate, thanks for a big year, brother.
Mate, well done
What
to
a year.
you for a massive year. No one will ever know other than you what you've gone through this year and what you've overcome. No one, everyone, no one, myself, the producer, no one. Because at the end of the day, you are the one, when you wake up and you look at yourself in the mirror and you ask yourself the hard questions, only you will ever know that. And everyone listening to this, only you will know what you've gone through to get to where you're at. So, mate, you should be bloody proud of yourself because not only have you overcome obstacles, but you have absolutely crushed your profession, your own portfolio. Look, we're sitting in the bloody Taj Mahal here. And business has gone from strength to strength. You're impacting more people's lives. So on behalf of the entire community, you're an absolute bloody legend. And all of us wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. So you make sure you take some time to acknowledge how much of a legend you are and how much we all bloody love you.
Jimmy, man, I appreciate it, man. They're very, very kind words, my brother. And man, it's been a crazy year and one that has been interesting to look back on and reflect on. But you are right, man. It's been a lot of losses felt, but lessons learned. And I think all round, man, there's nothing I lost this year that can't be replaced by significantly better results and circumstances. And the lessons that I'll take from it, man, is things I'll carry for the rest of my life. So it's a funny thing, man. It's been a crazy year, but in both ways, man, highs and lows and everything else. But you know what's funny, man? Actually, we found this out just the other day. This is a funny note to finish on. For anyone else that's had a bit of a shit year, this year was the year of the snake. The year of the snake, the Chinese year of the snake.
Was it really?
It was.
Wow, didn't realize
So if you got
that.
bitten by anyone you didn't think you got bitten by, you got stung by anyone you didn't get stung by, you got dogged by someone you didn't think you were going to get dogged by, maybe the Chinese know a thing or two about people's personalities and where it comes from. But you know what, man? It's all onwards and upwards. Man, I'm better for it. I'm stronger for it. I'm happier for it. I'm actually the most content I've ever been in my life, which is a very, very interesting thing to reflect on. Hardest year of my life, most content I've ever been in my life is right now. So yeah, man, it's been a crazy year. It's been a wild ride. Achieved more than I thought I'd ever achieve. And yeah, man, it's an interesting one to sign off on and look for. I'm looking forward to 26. 25, I got more scars than I thought I was ever going to cop in a lifetime. Copped them in 1 year. But yeah, man, I'm excited for what 2026 is in front of us and new beginnings, man. Cutting away dead wood. Let's fucking go.
Mate, I love it.
Thank
love
you
it,
for
Sammy
everything
boy.
you've done as well, man.
My
The
pleasure.
community loves you. You bring out the best in me. And man, I wouldn't be the same man I am without you by my side as well, brother. So thank you so much.
Wouldn't be anywhere else, Sammy boy.
Mate, what an ending. Listeners, thank you for tuning in. As always, I hope you took some great value out of today's episode. I hope you took some great value out of this year and all the podcasts we put together, all the content we've put out. And yeah, it's been a wild ride 2025. And I'm looking forward to getting amongst it with all of you in 2026 as well. Jimmy, any final words, my man?
Nah, enjoy the break, everybody. Get fired up. Listen to this podcast over and over. If you're doubting yourself, you're struggling, you want a little bit of a pep up, go back to the basics. Those 5 key steps. I love those steps, Sammy. You should post about those 5 steps.
Yeah, maybe we change the title. About the 5 steps.
Well, I think those 5 steps are so important. So this is not rocket science, folks. It's not rocket science. Just do it.
I'm
Execute.
with you, big man. I'm with you. Mate, I love it. Listeners, thanks again. And we'll see you all in 2026. Love yous.